That's a long-term project. Let's talk about Dos Hermanos and your upcoming gig. We're still in the process of getting Tom back on the line, but let's talk with you about it. You have a gig with a rhythm section coming up.
Yes, weekend at Bertha's festival. We're headlining on Saturday. And it looks like what a collection. It's a festival and what a collection of acts. It's just, just stuff from I'm kind of like a fly on the wall as I'm watching these texts go by from all the band members and their stage plots. And, it's like, oh, wow, there's going to be those kinds of instruments. And, wow, everybody is so inventive these days with, anyway, I'm excited with their orchestration of bands. And I'm excited about the festival, especially with a quartet. Wonderful, exciting.
You guys usually perform as a keyboard duo, but this time you're going to have bass and drums.
Yes, and it's Pete Laviziola and Paul Avrutin, and they are masters of improvisation too, and they're just as excited as we are. So it'll be, for me, it'll be a chance to just get weird on top of a groove. And then Tom and I will just take it anywhere, and these guys will follow. It'll be really fun, really fun. Looking forward to it.
That's cool. So how is that different from what you usually do without a groove?
Well, it's a different, I think, I'm hoping everything we do without a groove, we sometimes use grooves, in our recordings, and we've sat in with other bands as a duo, and we had a couple of chances. The orchestral project that we did years ago had bass and drums, and you feel like you have a net.
Yeah.
Your performance, you take more risks. And you sort of look at the bigger. For me, Tom is always looking at the bigger picture. His vision is always amazing that way. But for me, it will be a chance to sort of have more breathing room musically.
Yeah. So, in other words, if either one of you stops, the other has to carry everything. But now you got a rhythm section, so both of you can leave a few more gaps in things without it falling apart.
Exactly. Being able to lay out a little bit, so it can orchestrate the evening better.
Yeah. Sometimes music can have a groove without necessarily having a backbeat. Like the groove manifests itself in like longer, slower. Little things pulsate to the fore, and it's a groove of some sort. It's just not a conventional one.
Yes. Well, that you can look at it either way. The conventional grooves are narrowing, or they're expanding, sort of, because the mainstream pop stuff seems to be very narrowing, but you see what just the reaction to this last tour of Dead & Company is much broader than it has ever been.
That's true. Tom, are you with us?
I think so. Can you hear?
Oh yes, much better.
A good deal better. Yes, thank you. Okay, good. Now we have both members of Dos Hermanos. We have Dos Hermanos with us.
Does that add up to 4? No, wait, no, I don't think so.
It's Dos.
Dos. Both Dos.
It all depends on whether you're seeing double or not.
We usually are.
Later in the show, I expect I will.
Yes.
Well, Tom, how are you?
Oh, much better. Hanging in there quite nicely and looking forward to next weekend.
Fabulous.
So you had a little minor health scare recently?
That's about what it was, yes. None the worse for wear, though, it would seem, according to the doctors, and I'm good to go.
Okay, that's what matters.
Yeah. Indeed you do.
Well, we're trying to figure out how to promote an improvisational event that has no set list and no real parameters. We're just going to invite people to come and watch you guys have a musical conversation, a 4-way musical conversation with no blueprint, no roadmap, and no plans.
Right.
Well, This has been the story of our lives so far. That's what we've been doing all along. And the miraculous thing is that people, A, that we get away with it, and B, that the wilder we get, the better they like it.
Oh man, that's you cultivate that in an audience if you keep doing it. You know, the absence of hooks is the hook.
Absolutely, and we play off them. You can feel their vibes quite structured, infuse what we play, and we tailor what we play to the room. Right.
David and I have talked about the similarities in improvised music and improvised theater and comedy with the yes and concept. You know, like someone positing a thought and the next person elaborating on it or continuing it or taking it in an entirely different direction. And Dos Hermanos seems pretty exemplary of that.
Oh, for sure. It's something, a new vegetable is thrown into the stew, and that becomes part of the mix, and you have to deal with it.
And as long as the audience doesn't throw the vegetables, you're doing fine.
Well, actually, sometimes they do, and that's fine too.
Now, this weekend at Bertha's
always
thing,
bigger picture.
right? Yeah, that's what he said about you before you showed up. This is happening in Townsend, Delaware, at Fire Base Lloyd. I hope that's a reimagined fort or something rather than an ongoing military installation in Townsend, Delaware. And I posted a link to get tickets for it at Eventbrite. So it's on the Facebook, the Tales from the Golden Road Facebook page if you want to find a little more information about it.
And also it's being promoted by the Diamond State Pranksters.
Oh, great.
So it is a very prankster-friendly scene. I don't know what that means.
Are these people who have genuine historic ties to the Merry Pranksters, or are they a prankster auxiliary of their own making?
I'm not sure exactly what the history is, but they're very steeped in it.
Great.
And I don't know if you could. I don't know. Maybe there's official pranksterdom.
Whatever that means.
You get certified. Yes. I don't know. I think we'd all be there.
Right. Well, that sounds so wonderful. I hope we get more opportunities to see you guys together. Bob, I was so happy to see that you made it to Oracle Park last weekend, and I saw you subsequently. And it got me thinking, you two guys were crucial contributors to the Grateful Dead in different ways, in different eras. I mean, Tom, you helped place them in the realm of the deeply experimental, and one might say the avant-garde, if anyone knew what that meant. And then Bob, decades later, you took them into new technological realms, or afforded them the technology to take themselves into new realms. So you were both crucial contributors to the history in different ways. So the fact that you guys work together it makes so much sense to me.
Well, it's like being in a space voyage with Dr. Sarkoff and Mr. Spock.
I love your frame of reference, sir.
Well, yeah. The work I started with the Grateful Dead was the Twilight Zone, and so it was all about the weirdness. I mean, we were pitch bending Tibetan prayer bowls. Right. It was all about that space, that other place, and so when I got a chance to meet Tom, I think we just connected on that. That is a given for us.
Yeah, and the sounds you were able to feed Mickey were not all that far apart from the sounds that Tom was creating in the analog realm with things like gyroscopes on a piano soundboard and Henry Cowell-like scrapings inside a piano. And some of those concepts were manifesting themselves in Mickey's drum sequences, because he had all this amazing sample stuff, ranging from John Cage to Tibetan monks to all sorts of things. So they were accessing the same kind of musical universe that you guys naturally gravitate towards?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, certainly my it's clearly the area in which I made a blossom for myself and for them, I think.
Yeah.
Because they enjoyed it so much. I know it was working, you know what I mean? And I found a place where I could make sense of that, and it made total sense to me. And even to the extent that they trusted me in producing Infrared Roses, you know, something like that, which was just saying, you know, can I do this? They said, oh, yeah, sure. So with Tom, I think I had the same kind of playful connection. Like, let's see what happens here. You know, he'll shoot me a video of some weird performance, and, you know, which he did recently, and I'm sure we'll do it at Bertha's. You know, it will come out. It just, you know, oh, yeah, I get it. Let's try it.
Do you guys ever set I remember hearing that the Grateful Dead sometimes when the boys went back out to do the Space Jam after drums, they would sort of say a phrase or a concept or something that would kind of inform the improvisations. Do you guys ever give yourselves a watchword like that or something to think about while you're playing?
If I could throw a bone to the audience here, one of our major discoveries is that we would go out into space and we would find these identifiable places. Some of them would become songs, some would become an interim. It was much like the improvisatory sessions with the Grateful Dead during rehearsals, where we just go out there and play a certain amount of exploration, and some of them turned into tunes. I remember there was one passage in 10 that became playing in the band later.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't anything when we played in rehearsal. And there are those things out there to be found, and we go out there and find them.
So that little melodic. Go ahead, Bob.
Back to the word thing. You know, Phil once said to me before we were going out, he was going out into space. You know, it was Pearl Harbor Day, and he said, "Space is about things falling through the air," and that was their theme. So we often, especially in the very beginning when we had few references of what we were doing to names on things, because we were improvising all the time, we would go out with titles that we hadn't ever played before. We'd just go backstage and make up titles like Stravinsky plays Sesame Street. Or Cartoon Spy.
Oh, I love that.
That's great.
Yeah, I would do that as an audience member in Grateful Dead space. You know, Phil had a MIDI voice that sounded like a giant warped pan flute, so I would call that one Zamfir Goes to Pluto or something like that.
Glad we inspired it.
Absolutely. Listen, you guys, we got to move on here. We got a huge roster of calls coming in, but it's wonderful to hear both of your voices, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys come up with. Paul Avrutine is the bass player. I met him through Dead On Live in the Northeast, and Pete Labizzoli, of course, is an old friend of mine. We've known each other close to 30 years now. He's a terrific drummer. He toured with the JGB for a while. He does all kinds of stuff. His main act is Crazy Fingers down in South Florida. Right. And I can tell you from personal experience that both those guys are wonderful improvisers, and you're going to have a great time.
Yes, indeed. And Bob, it was great to see you multiple times this past week. And Tom,
yeah.
I hope we have that pleasure for the first time in far too long soon.
Yes, that's all right.
And once again, the event is Return to Weekend at Bertha's this coming Friday through Sunday, July 28th through 30th in Townsend, Delaware. And I posted a link to the Eventbrite ticket site on our Facebook page. If you're not on Facebook, just search for Return to Weekend at Bertha's and we'll get you there. Gentlemen, thank you both.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Take care.
And we're gonna close with a piece of music from their most recent album. The record is called Persistence of Memory. The band is called Dos Hermanos, and you can look them up at doshermanos.com to acquire a copy of this. Let's listen to a little bit of Dos Hermanos. Thank you again, gentlemen.